I need to send this link to a couple of my friends that are going to be interested in this, and then yeah, then we're gonna jump into this, and we're going to discuss me setting up Frakencamera, because Frakencamera is totally a thing that we're gonna set up, and I'm gonna explain everything about Frakencamera as we set it all up and do our thing. So let me get this sent off to my friends and people who are interested, because this is totally not a planned exercise at all. Yeah, so Frankencamera, and we'll probably go over this a couple times what Frankencamera is exactly. But Frankencamera is my large format camera, my 4x5 Burke and James. This is on a weird little tripod thing. Let me see if I can get this to work. And it looks like it's working. So Frankencamera, right, is my 4x5 Burke and James with an F adapter on the back. And what I mean by the F adapter is it's so I can mount an F bayonet mount Nikon lens to it. But thanks to a good friend of mine, Mr. Nick Del Duca, we're going to be making things kind of weird. Basically, what I have now is I have some KNF Concept and some Neewer um, mounts, essentially. And I know the phone's crooked, that's because the tripod is done. But basically, what I have is I have a series of mounts, really, really important mounts, because I have a ton of vintage lenses, and Nick has a bunch of different vintage lenses, and so we are going to be messing around with all that stuff. And we have actually, if you've been seeing my shorts the last 2 days, the photos with Ariana were all taken on these this vintage lenses that I have. And so I'm just getting this all sent out. Who else do I need to share this with? There's one other person. But yeah, so I have a series of vintage lenses. Nick and I just actually went and picked some up, and we're stupid, and we didn't record us picking them out for some reason, but we didn't. So even though we didn't actually show the video of us picking them out, we got a 300 millimeter, a 135 millimeter Vivitar, which is amazing, and another 28 millimeter. Because I think we paid $50 in total, or $65 in total for those three lenses. I got two M42 mounts and one F mount, and I've got a K mount adapter for the Sony. So Sony E mount to K mount, F mount, EF mount, M42, and Minolta. So we've got 5 different types of lenses that we can use on these cameras, and it's actually super, super exciting that we're going to be able to do that. But what we're doing today is we're going to take the F mount backplate I have for my 4x5 large format camera, right? We're going to take that and we're going to basically put the Sony camera on it, which is a crop factor of ×4. And my lens on my large format, my 4x5, is 210. So this will be a 880 millimeter lens, essentially, is what it's going to end up looking like. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this all set up and finished, and we're gonna jump right into that. And it is going to be some insanity as we get all this stuff set up. Does that send to everyone? I think so. There we go. Okay, so we are all set up. We're all where we need to be. Um, let's jump into this shindig, or at least try to make it work. Let me see here. But yeah, so okay. Let me. Shabam. How do I? There we go. So there we have it. So that is my Burke and James 4x5. This is the adapter, right? I made this. It's 3D printed, glued onto this piece here, and then this is my F bayonet mount to E mount. So I'm gonna go get a couple of things, and we will get started on this. Hopefully this works. I don't know if it's going to. It looks like that actually will work perfectly. Just 1 second. So we'll go ahead and get this going. All right. So we're actually going to remove our little film holder here. There's just 4 screws that hold it on, and then 2 screws that hold the springs on. 2. Our ground glass, that's what we're removing. 3. And 4. So put those screws in a safe spot. Move the piece of metal. And as you can see, it's still kind of on there because of these springs that hold it in place. We're going to remove those next. And I do have dry plates still that we need to go out and use. I haven't had the time. I've been so busy with everything else, but I think that one of the next studio sessions we do, we're going to do portraits with this Birkin James 4x5 with the Sony. An 800 millimeter is going to be a little bit ridiculous, I think. But overall, I think it'll be worth it. That's my opinion on it. I think it will be worth doing. So we're going to pull that out. We got to be careful with the ground glass. And this is like what the inside of the camera looks like. Like it's that easy. It's that simple. There's not a whole lot to it. And then we're just going to attach that last little rear bit. Let's see what there we go. I'm figuring this out. I don't remember how I punched these holes exactly. Oh, you know what? I have to remove the ground glass out of this, but I got to leave this installed. So that's actually where I just messed up because it's here where it screws into. So let's go ahead and reinstall the ground glass bracket. This camera I got a hell of a deal on. I bought it with the lens and a case and a bunch of film holders for like $150. So it was like nothing to buy this thing. And so, especially in the market I bought it in, like really it should have been a lot more. The guy was a photography teacher out of Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I drove up there, met him at a Walmart parking lot. And he was just happy the camera was going to be used. So, there we go. So how did this line up again? Not like that. Just spin the other way around. So those 2 holes line up. I didn't do the best job making this. Perfect. Well, close to perfect. Good enough. Here. So we now have an F mount. For our Birkin James 4x5. Literally, it's an F mount now instead of the ground glass. And then with this is an F mount to Sony E mount, K&F concept. So we're going to be able to mount the Sony to the back of my large format camera, and insanity will follow, I hope, because it's going to be like 800. The last time we did this, we hooked the Nikon D50-100 up to it, and the results were pretty neat. That's a huge crop factor. That's like a 5.5 or something, a crop factor of 5.5. Like, it's a lot. It's a huge crop factor. Way too much of a crop factor. Let's see here. Oops. But yes, that was 3D printed for me, for a friend of mine, and we just kind of And if this works, we'll actually, I'll make a nice one with probably out of metal. And again, you can see there's some wobble to it. It's not perfect because obviously. Okay, my tripod mount is still on the back of this. So there's probably going to be some light leaks. That's okay. It'll be like the Russian Helga cameras or Holga cameras or whatever. They had light leaks. Made them very unique. I always liked those ones. Okay. So that looks like it's on tight enough. Again, I'm going to make one of these out of metal. This is one out of cheap plastic. We'll make a metal one. That is better constructed so it's not flimsy. That's pretty good. So I'm going to grab my tripod. We'll get this set up. We're going to aim it out my window, see how that looks. Just for the case of curiosity. I got a big old wooden tripod for some reason. I like it for that large format camera. Nice ball head. Okay. This open. That's a decent view. Then we get a picture of the dog. Let's go over here now. So that is my view. How can I get this set up? There we go. Looks like that works. Okay, so we have our tripod set up, and we're going to get that other camera set up really quick. Let me just make some adjustments. There we go. Make sure I got the tripod ring on correctly. Jump on the computer real quick. Okay, no comments yet. That's okay. Yeah, so we have that all set up. It's ready to go. It's ready to be awesome, as normal. So hopefully this all works out the way I want it to, because it would suck if it didn't. Okay, so yeah, so here we have it. And then after we do this little experiment, we're going to look at the vintage lenses that I picked up. Let's see. Okay. So I do have my screen up now. That way I can see if anyone is commenting. Because if you guys start commenting, I want to be able to answer your questions and comments that you give. But so far we have the tripod set up. For those of you just joining us, we just put the Franken lens adapter onto the Birkin James, and that is an F mount adapter, so that I can put a Nikon camera on it right now. But we don't just want to use the Nikon camera. We want to be able to put that adapter right there allows us to put a Sony onto the back of this. So we'll be able to mount my Sony to the back of this and use this honkin' 210 millimeter lens with a crop factor of about ×4. That puts this at like an 800 millimeters. So we might be able to get a good shot of the mountains. Hopefully. That'd be cool, right? So let's see how we can do this. So we've got that up there. It's really hard to do this one-handed. Line up my tripod mount. Okay. That wasn't as bad as expected. Oh, it's yelling at me to rotate my device. Whatever. So we got that mounted up. So now we're here. Let me. This tripod I'm using is super interesting. I'm not very good at this, if you can't tell. I don't go live very often. There we go. So this back, just a hair. And of course, you're being blasted out of oblivion with overexposure. You're not going to be able to see from there either. Interesting. Maybe this direction? That's better. Kind of. This tripod sucks. I need to get a different tripod. We'll get a different tripod in a second. But yeah, that's where we are so far. We have this set up. I'm actually digging how this is coming along. This is my battle station, by the way. This is where I make all the videos and stuff for the channel. Okay, so the tripod's going to have to work for now, and that's fine. I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing, though. So I think we're going to be swapping tripods. There it is. Because I hate the tripod that's on here right now. But yeah. There we go. So there's my Birkin James 4x5. I'm putting the new tripod mount onto the phone connector thingy. Hey, there we go. Look at that. And I'm going to grab this tripod. I have so many tripods. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 tripods. Each of them has their advantages and disadvantages, but that will work. Cool. So now that we have the Birkin James set up with the F mount instead of the ground glass, we are now going to grab this, which is the Canon Concept F to E mount. So this will allow us to mount this onto that camera and then mount my A7S III to the back of this. So let's give that a try. Where's my lining? It's been a while since I've done this. So I don't exactly remember exactly where my line is. Somewhere around here. Okay. It might be easier if I pull the back plate off. There we go. See? Much easier if I do that. Only got part of it on. You know, for as precise as 3D prints are supposed to be, they're not always super precise. Let's see here. I'm going in the wrong direction. I might be going in the wrong direction. There we go. I was going in the wrong direction. So there we go. So we have the F mount mounted to our back plate. And I can rotate this as needed for the camera. So let's go grab my A7S III to mount to this. And we're going to take some kind of photos out the window and see what we can capture. Got to remove this 50 millimeter. Currently have the 50 millimeter f1.4 on there, made by Samyang, which is just a spectacular lens, by the way. Like, Samyang they make some fantastic glass. There's really no other way to put it than that. But, okay. Do I have battery? I have battery. line this, the dots up. You got to line that dots up. Oh yeah, I forgot it's set up that way. That's okay. I don't actually really care all that much. I just want to see how this will come out. I can fix that in post if I need to. And of course, it's a little wobbly. Let's pull this cap off. Let's open this up wide open. Put this at f5.6. And yeah, there is an image on the back of the camera that is actually super, super cool. I need to remember how I can... See, this is the issue I've been running into with this setup, is that the camera's not straight. I don't remember how I fixed it before. I think what I ended up doing was partial locking it like this. Yeah, that's not super steady. We're going to have to fix that. Anyway, so I want to show you guys what the camera sees, because this is an 800 millimeter now. So we've got our Sony a7S III mounted to our Birkin James 4x5, and as you can see, and this is technically an 800 millimeter now. So it isn't straight. Again, I need to make a new one of these plates that holds everything. It's super wobbly. I need to make one out of metal. It needs to be precise. Like, there's a lot I need to do to perfect this. But let's see if we can get something in focus. And we have focus peaking on. As you can see, the bright, crazy redness. But yeah, so like, that's insane, right? Like, am I the only one that's amazed by this? Because that means that I can use full tilt shift, all the movements of this Birkin James, because this Birkin James camera literally has full movements. Like, I can do everything with this that you can with any large format. And that's a 210 millimeter f5.6, which is just insane. So it's basically an 800 millimeter on the back of this. And I really want to go do portraits with it. I don't know why. Don't ask why. I don't know. I just want to. Oh, hello, Mississippi Pickers. Like, this should be good. I hope it's good. Things are getting a little insane right now. I need to aim the camera differently. So I'm gonna use some of that tilt shift. Well, not tilt shift, but movements. Yeah, I'm just gonna move the front of the camera up. And then we're going to actually, where is that at? There it is. So very carefully. Try to turn it. Ooh, there we go. Look at that, look at that, look at that. So that right there, let's see how it looks. You guys are experiencing. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I'm pretty surprised it's working too. But like, look at that. Look at that. Oh, that is so cool. I mean, yeah, it's overexposed. I'm at like 640. Let's bring that down a little bit. The ISO and yeah. Oh man, 800 millimeter. That is so insane. It's really clear. It's super sharp. I really want to do portraits with this now. I need to find someone that'll let me. But the fact that I have focus peaking on a large format camera, like, I wonder if I can build a bellows camera that essentially isn't that 4x factor. Because like, the widest angle lens I could find for a 4x5 camera was like a 35 millimeter or something, which that's like 120 millimeter, which actually would be doable. It was on the one of those press cameras, those really cool press cameras. But so that's where we're at right now. Like, again, like, for you guys just joining us, we have a 4x5 large format camera with a Sony a7 III mounted to the back of it. I do really need to improve this mount. Like, the mount is really, really bad. It's super wobbly. It's made out of plastic. I need to get a metal one made, like an aluminum one made. I have a couple friends that do fabrication. I got one in particular who does, has a laser cutter. So if I can get him to do that, like, But like, let's play a little bit with our knobs. Where's my tilt shift knob? It's been a while since I've really messed with this camera. I'm a little bummed out that I haven't played with it in a while. Oh yeah, tilt shift doesn't have a knob on this camera. Oh yeah, I want you guys to see the live view. That's what it looks like live. So that's like what's in focus and that's out of focus. And the other thing too is like, oh man, I'm just so excited right now about this. It's ridiculously exciting to me. I've done it with the f-stop. Hi, Clifford. I've done it with the f-mount with the Nikon, but it was so zoomed in, there was nothing you could do about it. I'm really curious on what the closest I can focus this camera is. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the focus peaking move across. And literally everything in that is supposedly in focus. So let's take a picture of it. And let's zoom. Wow. Like I'm really, really impressed. Let's go a little further up, you know, like that. Like imagine taking portraits with this. Oh yeah, look at that. Like how do you guys feel about me doing some long exposure night photography with this? Like, oh, look at that creamiest bokeh. Yes. So now that we're done, we've messed with this for quite a bit. I really do like the other part of this video is I want to discuss some vintage lenses because the only thing that made this possible, because I already had that mount, is this right here. And this is an adapter that'll allow me to put F-mount lenses onto my Sony. And I have a bunch of those adapters now. Like a bunch of those adapters. And that's really, really what the point of this video was, is I want to talk about those adapters. And I don't go live very often anymore. I don't know why. I enjoy live interaction with you guys. But let's go over some of the vintage stuff that I have. So this one is for EF mount. So I can mount old EF mount lenses to my camera. I've got the Pentax K mount right here. And this is all lenses I own. So that way we can actually, we're going to be able to go through and do these videos together. This is an M42 mount for the screw type Soviet lenses, which I'm really, really excited about because I picked some up. And then this one I think is Minolta. Yeah, this is a Minolta mount. So we got Minolta, Pentax, the EF mount. Which other ones did I have? The F mount, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's 5. So, but at a local thrift store in my town, flea market, I picked up this guy right here. This is a 135 millimeter f2.8, and I was playing around with this in my house. Oh my god, the bokeh on this lens right here. It is a Vivitar, I believe. Yeah, it's Sears Auto. It's a Vivitar. This lens right here is probably one of the sharpest vintage lenses I've ever seen. But like I said, you know, I picked this one up for $20, and this one is a screw type mount, M42 mount. And then the other one I picked up, we thought it was a Minolta mount, but it's actually an F mount. This is a 28 millimeter f2.8. Now, it says Mitacar on the front of it, but really the lens is a Sakar. And this one actually has a really creamy effect. Really, really fantastic. A fantastic effect with this lens right here. And then the last one I picked up the other day, if I can get this lens cap back on, there we go, is a 300 millimeter screw mount, an M42 mount, f5.5, I think. You know, and see, that's the thing, is like, that's one of the great things about 4x5 cameras is that tilt shift is amazing for architecture. So it's definitely on the list of things I'm going to be doing. I'm going to do a lot with it. A portrait is right where I want to be. But yeah, 300 millimeter f5.5. I was playing around with this lens too. This would be a cool portrait lens. Nick Del Duca has the old Nikon portrait paparazzi lens, the 185. We did some portraits with that. He's got a 28 millimeter as well, and a 50 millimeter 2.8. But the one that I'm really excited to use is on my Pentax K1000. This is a 50 millimeter f2, and I remember using this as a with film, and this lens is absolutely amazing. I absolutely love this lens right here. And then we did some portraits. If you guys watched my YouTube shorts yesterday, most of those portraits I posted were taken with this. I don't have backing mounts, so they just stick on the camera. This is my Nikon FG. This is an f3.5, what was it, a 75 to 205 Vivitar. And holy smokes, does Vivitar make good glass. Like, it's absolutely amazing. And it's all dirt cheap. Like, in reality, what I've paid for these lenses, I probably paid $100 for 1, 2, 3, 4, all 5 lenses I showed you. Like, all 5 of those lenses was maybe $100. They're manual focus, but as you saw on the Sony, it's got that focus peaking, so it tells you when stuff's in focus. It makes it just that much easier. So we're gonna head back over to this Sony and see if we can't play around with this a little bit more. There we are, now we're back at the Sony. That focus peaking is so cool. So I think, let's bring the f-stop to like, what is this, f64 is the maximum f-stop of this lens? Yeah, f64. We're on a tripod, so I can totally probably get away with bringing that shutter speed down. We're going to bring ISO up. We're going to bring ISO more. And I'm going to bring the shutter speed down, up. But, like, the focus peaking covers a lot more area, it looks like. So let's take a picture. Let's zoom in on it. I mean, it's noisy. That's super noisy. I need to clean the dust off my sensor, it looks like. Yeah, either that or it's on the lens. I don't know. Actually, it might be my window. We might have focused on things on my window, to be 100% honest with you. I mean, yeah, it's super noisy. I'll bring the ISO down. I'll just bring my shutter speed back down. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, I need to clean my lens. And my sensor. And my window. It's picking up the dots on my window. But that right there is absolutely, absolutely freaking amazing. The focus peaking, again, is probably the one thing I'm most impressed about. I really need to find like a smaller focal lens, though. Like if I can get a 4x5, like 90 millimeter or a 75 millimeter, I mean, times 4. If I get a 30 millimeter, that'd be ideal. I don't know if they make one. I haven't been able to find one. But if I can get a 35 millimeter 4x5 lens, you know, the crop factor of 4, that's like 140 millimeter, which is actually pretty doable with portraiture. I mean, I love the 150 millimeter for headshots. It's probably one of my favorite lenses for headshots. But the 185 that Nick has was actually really, really good too. I mean, I had to be at the very, very back of the studio to get anything. And I don't know how macro that this is going to be. I don't know how close I can zoom up. I guess I could turn the camera towards, let's see, where is it at? There it is. Let's see if we can get focus peaking on that. That is the middle of the window thingy right there. So let's see if we can focus peak on that. That'll give us an answer of how close we can be. I mean, we're at my fence post. No. Definitely can't. That's way too close. Yeah, no, those f1.4s are ridiculously expensive. But if you don't mind manual focus, like there's no problem with going with what you got. See, it is the dirt on my window that it's either dirt on the window or dirt on my lens. I think it's on my lens. because it's focus peaking on dots, and that makes no sense. Let me cover that up and see if it's still. Oh, yeah. So actually, that's pretty macro. If that is correct, that is insanely macro. If that's actually focusing on the dots on my window, the dust on my window, that's insanity. Because I could do macro shots with this. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to, but I definitely could. That's super strange. Super, super strange. No, that's dust on my sensor. Nick is right. I need to clean my sensor. But no, like I'm actually quite amazed with how awesome that this little rig came out. And I was thinking about it last night, and I was totally, totally surprised that that I hadn't thought of it before. But it was actually getting all those adapters from KF Concept and from Newer that gave me the idea to like give this a try and see if it worked. And it just so happened that it does, and that's absolutely insanity. So it's like I had to show this one. You should. So the lens board I was looking at, I don't know how the lenses would transfer. I really don't. I don't know how. I'm gonna have to do some research because I don't know with the bellows what kind of difference that's gonna make. I mean, if I put an E mount on the front of this, I would probably do my 18 millimeter, but I don't know how the 18 millimeter would translate over to a bellows. I mean, I think it's totally worth trying. It's totally an experiment I want to do. I can get a lens board made and, mount a Sony E mount. Yeah, I don't know. But being able to use tilt shift with an E mount lens would be pretty cool. I have to admit, it's kind of like the Lens Baby, except, well, it wasn't quite as expensive. Lens Babies are ridiculously expensive. I love the Lens Babies. I would get one in a heartbeat if I could afford it. But currently I can't. Or I wonder if they make an. It might be easy to make an M42 Lens Baby because it's a screw mount tie. You just need a ball. Ideas, lots and lots of ideas. But yeah, no. So if you guys interested in seeing the portrait session for this, I'm gonna try to set one up for next week. I have a couple models that want to do shoots next week, so at least one of them, I'm sure I could convince that this is a good idea. Definitely gonna do some long exposure work. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. You guys have any questions before I sign off? And there's a delay, so. Oh, well. Nick answered it. So we'll have to do F-mount lenses. I have a ton of F-mount lenses. I just don't know how that's going to work. Yeah. Thank you, Mississippi. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Check out those adapters. They're not very expensive. They're all over Amazon. K&F makes good ones. Newer makes good ones. I think Newer actually makes one. The EF one we have is an autofocus one. So that one's made by Sigma. It's by Sigma. But yeah, they're definitely totally worth it. And so we'll have some long exposure night stuff here soon. I got to clean the sensor before we do that, and then portraits if I can talk anyone into that. So hopefully I can. I keep thinking my camera's up here, and I need to be looking down here. So that's why I look so goofy. That's true. It really doesn't matter what the millimeter ends up being. I would just like to know, at least generally, what that last little millimeter is going to be. But you're right. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It only really matters if I'm using a 4x5 lens because then I have a crop factor I need to take into account. But I don't know. That's a good question. Definitely going to be exploring this a lot more this summer. So hopefully we get some really cool results. Really. It's time to check eBay. eBay's been my friend lately. I've been buying a lot of stuff on eBay, probably more than I should. I really like eBay a lot. Um, I don't know. I mean, eBay is hit or miss. Like you can either like get really good deals on eBay, or you get stuck with like the people that are like constantly selling, and then like you just don't ever get a deal. You know, I could create my own f64. I don't know if they make f64 35 millimeter lenses. I looked into it. I didn't find anything, but I do like f64, especially on large format. For some reason, large format is just even on f64, the images aren't all that soft. At least not with the lens I have. They're really not. When I'm doing portraits with this big camera, you know, it's always at f5.6, and the bokeh at on a 4x5 f5.6 is absolutely just insane. 5.6 is where we had the camera set when I originally got started on this today, and I mean, the images looked absolutely great. I was super excited about that. I don't think the bokeh is as intense on a full frame camera. I don't know. I don't actually understand exactly the math behind how f-stop works and bokeh and depth of focus and all that stuff. The technical stuff, I know it works. I just don't know the technicals behind it. So I'm thinking if I'm shooting at f64 at like 50 ISO, you know, a night photo, I could probably get away with a 30-second exposure. I would imagine. At least, you know, where I'm at, you know, that, I mean, that's the view from my backyard. There's not a whole lot of light pollution back there. Or even those NDs. Like, I got a ton of ND filters. You know, I got an 11 stop ND filter. Yeah, no, that is absolutely true. I don't have the tripod completely tightened. This was just a quick little thing. The tripod I have is actually I haven't had a problem with it in the past. The big issue is going to be that how do I flip this camera around again? Yeah, I don't either. F64, like as cool as that would be. There we go. So like what's actually really wobbly on this is because of that back mount with this camera, the tripod itself isn't fully tightened down just because we're just sitting in my office. But once I tighten it all the way down, it's pretty heavy duty. It is a large format tripod. Um, I wonder if the KNF Concept tripod that they sent me would hold my large format. I don't know. I haven't actually tried. It's within the weight specifications. I mean, it's not as light as an Intrepid, but it's still like a decent one. I mean, the tripod that I'm using my phone on is like an Amazon Basics, like a real cheapy $20 tripod or something. It works for indoor photography, and that is about it. The other one I have another KNF. And that's true. I mean, that's what's great about the tilt shift. I mean, you put it in focus, you tilt, you know, you refocus, you tilt, you refocus, and you can get everything. In, there's a photographer out of Greeley, a landscape large format photographer, who actually taught me how to use large format cameras. Alex Burke. Alex Burke showed me that trick, and like his images are huge. I mean, like 8 foot by 6 foot landscapes, and you could look at it with a magnifying glass, and everything is sharp and in focus. From the flowers on the mountain that's a mile and a half away to the flowers that are right in front of him, and it's absolutely just absurd how clear and in focus his images are. He really grabbed that F64 Club motto. Um, his work is great. I think he does it full time now. I think that's all he does. Because I worked with him when he was a mechanic at Volkswagen, and so he actually retired from that and is doing landscape photography full time. He just hits the whole the art circuit, I guess is what you'd call it. So like, like the Arts Picnic, Art in the Park in Loveland. He just travels around the country. That's the dream for landscape photographers. Like his stuff is in the Greeley one of the Greeley libraries, the Farr Park Yeah, the Farr Library in Greeley. The one on was that 16th Street by the ball fields. No, it's definitely quite awesome. So that's what you guys have to look forward to. Nick and I have already done a video where we use a bunch of those vintage lenses. We did 2 videos on that actually. We got one where we only use the 28mm, and then the other one we play around with all of them. So definitely look forward to those videos. They're coming up in the future. We also have a review that we did the other night. We filmed it. That'll be out in a few weeks of the 8300s. The Godox AD300s. And those lights are absolutely spectacular. We went and did a night car photo shoot with a model. Yeah, I mean that's what I've done in the past. Is used 1 second, sorry, a gallon of water and a had to clear my throat. I've used a gallon of water on a tripod. That's a really good trick. I'll have to see. I do wonder if the KNF tripod is going to be sturdy enough. I mean, if we're in the studio, yeah, I mean that is true. It would stand out. The architecture stuff would be really cool. Loveland's got a lot of really cool buildings downtown. So does Greeley that I could do that with. I try to stay out of Fort Collins. But yeah, the 8300s. That's what we're signing on. Those lights are cool. We did an outdoor car shoot with a model at like 9:30 at night, and they were absolutely stunning. I'll have some of those photos as YouTube shorts today. Um, what time is it now? I think they come out. I think I have the first one's coming out at 1 because I posted one of the leftovers from yesterday earlier today. And then I have this live. And then I have a video coming out at like 2 o'clock today about why I don't like boudoir photography, which actually that one's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know how many people are going to agree with me. I don't think anyone will agree with me, but I mean, that's okay. That's the nature of business. I think I make a pretty good argument on why I don't like it. And it's not the actual art form itself. I just don't like doing them, is what the video is about. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any other video ideas. Definitely F64. I got to put a better plate on that before I take it into public, though. Like, I can't be having my Sony bouncing around on the back of this. The first little bits of it, though, I think I can use the plate I have and the tripod I have for portrait photography in the studio, because I can still use the studio strobes. That's going to be cool. That'll be really interesting, being able to keep using those studio strobes while I keep using those studio strobes while using that old camera. Then again, that camera right there on that lens, though, the trigger for strobes does work. So it wouldn't be the first time I've done that. It's one of the old school style. I think it's a quartz trigger. You screw it into the front and it just does its thing. I'm not going to answer the phone call. They probably want to reach me about my extended warranty. But yeah, we're doing this on my cell phone because it's just easier that way. There we go. So yeah, so really, we're definitely going to be doing a portrait session. We're probably going to break out this ridiculous lens, and we'll have to I'll have to be across the studio to get headshots. But with the tilt and stuff, I think it'll be really cool. And then I want to do some long exposure night photography with it, as well as some architect. So we got a whole series of videos we can do with Frakencamera, and I think that it'll be a ton of fun. I would like to get my hands on an Intrepid one day, but man, I do not do enough large format photography to justify getting rid of the Berg. Why I don't like boudoir photography. That's what that video is. You are on like a 20-second delay. I don't know how to turn that off. If I could go instant, I would, but for some reason it automatically sets it to a delay. So I am answering the questions as they come up. But yeah, why I don't like boudoir photography, specifically taking boudoir photography. I don't care for it. It's a good video. It'll be at like 2 o'clock today. It always amazes me at how quickly these live streams go by. Like, I've already been doing this for an hour. And it all started out with just setting up this Franken camera, and then we talk about lenses. I'm really excited to use that 50 millimeter Pentax though, because like Pentax lenses are some of my absolute favorite lenses, and that f2, like, you know, I remember shooting film with that, and that is just an amazing camera, an amazing setup. Oh, thank you. I'm glad it was. I'm glad. I definitely is still in the prototype stage. I just need to perfect it. It's messy right now. I need to get some metal plates and a laser cutter. But I am going to sign off now, you guys. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you guys liked this little video. I don't do lives as often as I used to. I really should do these more often. I like interacting with everyone directly in that way, but I think that you guys got some exciting things coming up. So if you're not subscribed yet, actually the 3 of you, I think all are subscribed. I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye.